a guy on YouTube giving his opinion, and it's been my opinion for some time that there needs to be more positive material on my channel. Not to mention for the channel to survive, and for certain controversial content to take a backseat. So there's something that we ponder as human beings, whatever field you're in, whatever your hobby is, and it's success. It's being more successful at whatever it is that we do. And there's a lot of videos that are out there about being more successful, and that's a very diverse place. There are people that put out, I would say, sensational law of attraction videos about being successful with materialism. And I notice with some of these individuals, they seem to lose elements of their humanity, their compassion, when they're talking about their own success. So, you know, like one person's success is another person's, I don't know if I want to say misfortune, but like the phrase goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So within the context of this, we're talking about being successful, and certain things that we may accomplish, that you may accomplish in your own life, may be monumental. And yet the world may not know about that. And you know, the topic of ego comes to mind. And it's important to know what motivates us. Now with myself, with YouTube, and you're familiar with the nature of the discussions of the content, the niche itself. And so there's a certain motivation for me, kind of where my passion lies. And it has to do with soul purpose and things of that nature. With me specifically, I'm just using this as a general example. Success in this lifetime has more to do, personally, with accomplishing certain tasks that I feel are absolutely there. Others, you know, success may involve a certain level of status. I'm trying to stay away from judging, but it's important to know how we define success. It's measured in different ways. Once success is aligned with something more mindful than something more superficial, as some people might perceive the contrast between views on success. Once it hones in on something that is worthwhile in dedicating one's lifetime to, and especially if there's a spiritual motivation, then hierarchy and competition and viewing other people as competition is something that we evolve beyond. As I said in a recent video, for the first time, we got to learn how to pull ourselves up out of the pool of energy using the steps that are there, using the bar that's there. It's not necessary for us to step on the head of somebody in order for us to succeed. And that's the fallen thinking in this fallen world that a lot of people have. That in order for them to succeed, that other people have to fall. That other people need to be in pain. For them to feel that they're winning, others need to be suppressed. In order for them to have something, something needs to be taken from others. And it's an imbalance. But there's some want to, you know, super-analyze it, hyper-analyze it to the point of a left-right brain imbalance in the brain, for example. But we need to bring restoration, I would agree, to the hemispheres of the brain. Whether someone looks at that literally or metaphorically. So a big part of that is deprogramming. Even on a subconscious level, I do believe this, we're programmed for failure. We're programmed to worship things. We're programmed to follow our lower senses and look outside of ourselves. Ooh. It's a lot of trappings of the flesh, if you will. In order to be successful, a human being in today's day and age has to rise above certain primitive impulses. They have to be willing to do the hard work and dedicate a good chunk of their life to that great work without waiting for the world to catch up and give that work the attention that they may perceive that it deserves. as I'm using this time to hone my message and do the very best that I can with whatever camera technology that I have. When I have the financial means, I feel more confident. When I feel that part of my life is more grounded, because certain payments, right, come first. But if I'm able to upgrade to better camera equipment with microphones, because I mentioned recently a camera went down, I'll do that. But until I'm able to do that, I will be successful at reaching many people, thousands of people, with a simple camera that's less than $100, with a simple light, successfully coming to you from off the grid, successfully. In a day and age, right, where there's not a whole lot of regular shows or content that's produced by off-gridders. And I could take this, and I am right now with the recent videos that I've put out, I could take this to a whole new level and be successful at not only going off the grid, where now there's a focus to direct the resources to getting out of that debt, paying off the land, to creating new goals, because it could be easy for us to lose faith in ourselves, to feel overwhelmed by all the work that we're doing just to make ends meet. And I know a lot of you that are living month to month, in some cases, in very dangerous areas, and just all kinds of different situations that you may be uniquely dealing with, whether you're off the grid, whether you're somewhere in America, somewhere in Europe, and just the world situation. But you know, it would be, if it was to be our goal, to be successful at going out in this world, even during a dangerous time, to do something right. To go out and speak certain things. To go out and share certain truths. To be successful at enhancing how we use this internet-based technology. I use the analogy often of the buffet of food. You have fast food over here and you have gourmet food over here. Even if you eat meat, picture the free range, hormone-free meat. We have choices. There are things out there that can educate us, and there's stuff out there on the internet that can weaken us and distract us, make us angry. In order to be successful, we need to overcome the victim consciousness. We need to overcome the mind control. We need to overcome our own addictive nature to social media, because the very addiction to even things like Facebook can interrupt someone's personal success. I don't care whether they're a video content creator. I don't care whether they're an artist who makes a living selling their art on eBay, on a website. Here, look at this. You know, we have this industry here. If people are addicted to something, social media, it can even be marijuana, but marijuana is obviously very therapeutic. It's about balance. It's about balance. And you've heard of the dangers of excess. It's great, by the way, if they've decriminalized marijuana. It's an unfortunate side effect to have a more neutralized, hey man, hey, society as a response that may think that it's winning when it may be losing some other rights that may be quite significant, if you will. Dealing with their national sovereignty, dealing with the direction of the nation. But if a certain amount of the population's up in smoke, because a certain amount of people do drop out, and they lose that ambition, you could even say, to want to be successful. But in order to be successful, someone has to believe in themselves and that they deserve to be successful in their field. One of the things, and when I was watching the videos regarding spiritual protection, was a lot of people of color living in ghetto environments that talked about protecting yourself from those people that want to pull you down when you're trying to elevate yourself. And it's something that we see on YouTube. It's something that we see all around the world. It's something that we see in all cultures. I know what it's like to be rejected from my dad's family for being an individual. In some cultures that are collectivist and very religious, if you will. Those, and I did hear this from, to quote Ansary from the Unslaved podcast, although I don't agree with everything that he says and some of the stuff that they're putting out, the narratives. but that the individual is considered the pathological dangerous one. It's the collectivist mindset. So in order to be successful, somebody has to believe in themselves and keep doing what it is they're doing while facing that type of judgment, persecution along the way. They, you, I can't wait for the world to catch up with what it is that we're working on. Now, there's several different things that I've been passionate about, and I've been distracted by maybe a sense of those projects not being recognized. And I see that each of those projects are separate and do relate to different demographics and niches, readers, if you will, viewers, and each of those areas, from geopolitics to the off-grid stuff to the spiritual warfare to the Solar Flare ebook to the things that I've said about relationships and a lot more. Each of those are realms in which I want to evolve the message, continue to write more about each of those things. And to me, that's what success is, to share all the knowledge that you are here to share. I think about like certain personal goals that are there that have actually consistently, for whatever reason, have been there for at least 10, 15 years. You know, have I made a geopolitical documentary that can reach the world? Well, I've reached tens of thousands. Have I put the information out there to the best of my knowledge that is truthful, that connects these various dots, that utilizes the pattern recognition when there's solar flares, the things that are happening on our world? Has it been really received to a certain degree? While my earlier work that was published in 2009, the stuff that's been published recently has not. But am I unsuccessful at accomplishing one of the life tasks to put the information, get the information out there? No. The answer is I am successful. The reality is, does the world yet see the significance with those dots that are connected in that ebook? Not quite. And we have technological interference now that can prevent some of us from successfully reaching certain audience members because of these algorithms. So we have to think outside the box of what is success and reevaluate. And maybe for a number of years, success may have been reaching a certain quantity and seeing our effect on the internet and the number of people that we're reaching. Success then morphs, because success doesn't go away if they change the algorithm. Just like energy is still energy. Success is still success. How it's manifested manifests that abundance, that wealth that's beyond currency, exists in another realm, in another way. For myself, looking at how some of the content relates to elements, spiritual perspectives on self-help, next to off-grid living, next to discussing other things. And then I'm seeing like its effect, videos that I've done 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago on relationships today, getting more tread and commentary than they did when they came out. And just seeing how that, more than news and covering today, although it's important to be informed of certain things but keeping balance. So a newfound sense of success that was different than years ago, but also included that sense of success years ago by providing people with an outlet or perspective that they're not hearing from other elements, the alternative media and mainstream media. I've always seen my program, my videos, now on this channel, right? It's my soapbox where I talk about the things that other people are not. Not that they should talk about the things that I'm talking about. Not that I should talk about the things that they're talking about, although some people would disagree and say that I should be mirroring and saying what so-and-so is saying. And just, you know, not rocking the boat. Don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. And just flying with the group. Whether it be people wishing I was more like them off the grid when they meet me. And God, that guy Alex Ansary is a real weirdo. He really is different. He's just not like the collective. Must be threatening. Must be something to stay away from. To me, success is not conforming. Because sometimes you won't end up successful by taking the easy way out in life and bending to peer pressure in order to reach that ultimate success, to reach the ring, if you will, to use such an analogy, let's just say the ring of one's real true power, to rise, right? In order to rise, in order to stand up, one must be free of that weight. Spiritual warfare comes up on this channel, more so than it might come up on a channel where someone's just talking about general success and human psychology. There are, I would say, jealous archetype forces that are on autopilot trying to stop us from evolving and raising our own frequency. Some even speculate that AI and these spiritual parasites, archons, demons are all linked together. And that the ringing in the ears and certain things may not be the government, but an autoimmune response to this matrix to bring us back down when we're rising up in awareness. And I would even say reaching certain levels of epiphanies. Have you ever been in deep thought or speaking about a topic on video? Maybe some of you, or maybe with a friend, where you're like, where was I? Because you go so deep into it, you can almost fall off the point of where you're at. Because we can be just distracted by certain things. I would say that there's certain periods when we're moving in the right direction and we're being positive, because I want to keep this video positive and not go too deeply into the supernatural and give that power, because when we give them power that they don't have, that's the key here, we could be harming ourselves with our own negative thought form patterns, you see. So there are certain periods in which their attacks on us are minimized. And there's a bigger door to move things forward where there's less opposition, where it seems that the universe is on our side. Granted, our ducks are in order. Other people understand this philosophy more so than I. I'm not really into astrology, but I'm into the effect of the sun over human consciousness and certain trends. So now the energy is moving a certain direction, or we know if there's stimulation during a certain part of the solar cycle, I would say that we can strategize certain projects for success that we want to launch, anticipating the type of reaction. I'm not saying that I've necessarily applied this, but I can see periods in which I've been subconsciously affected by the changes in the sun. Periods in which I've made more videos. Periods in which I was more focused. Periods in how the sun brought energy, but it also seemed to conflict with whatever left brain dominated responsibilities working in the grid, for example. A lot of psychological energy going towards obtaining money to pay for rent for something that one won't actually own. You know, that type of reality. So, sometimes to be successful, is this video abstract enough? It's not your typical how to be successful in 2018 hashtag video. But sometimes to be successful, we got to be willing to do new things and be unsuccessful. And as they say, be willing to fail. But being ridiculed is part of it. Being willing to fail is another. Being willing for things to not turn out as we thought in order to be successful. I want to be successful at going off the grid. In my mind, for a while, it was specifically one particular county. But it was almost necessary. There's more wisdom in this. Sometimes we're unsuccessful at certain things because we're meant to be successful somewhere else. So it's not that we're naturally unsuccessful. It's that there may be a higher road for us. There's a better county for me. There may be some limitations to live in this county, and there are. But are there beautiful things about this county and things of that nature in this part of North America for the time being that should be, cherished and appreciated, to thank the Creator for, to breathe deeply in gratitude for? Absolutely. And that would be successfully holding off the mind control. We should be successfully evolving. Being grateful for having our limbs, that our limbs weren't blown off in some war somewhere. Some people aren't so lucky. Some veterans aren't so lucky to have all their limbs. Some humans aren't so lucky to have survived certain war-torn situations that have been labeled the enemy for just simply being born in the wrong country at the wrong time. So, successfully keeping it together in a mental insane society while continuing to tell the truth, for me, is like it's a tightrope. walking it like Thriller. For me, success is being able to do that. Not losing myself with the conspiracy, fake news, and the fear, but also heralding forth a truth that comes from a spiritual dimension or place. Successfully driving that forward. Successfully bringing it back down to that. Not changing who I am. Not rebranding AlexAnsary.tv. I have successfully reached people around the world with tips and information with regards to unplugging from the matrix. And I've also successfully marginalized myself in the eyes of some as a crazy person that talks about things that don't exist. But yet I've been successfully able to continue what I'm doing off the grid. So I want to complete my thoughts, right? My message of success is a unique one. I know that people can learn from my journey. Go, if Alex Ansary can do it, I can do it. I believe I can convince people to a certain degree in their own success regarding certain things. Going through certain trials and tribulations in order to find what's right for me. And as I recall now, as I'll close here, there's something called good luck, bad luck, which is a Chinese parable. You know, I'm not sure how many thousands of years this goes back. But you have basically an ancient Chinese village where an old man loses his horses that run off wild, and all the villagers say, what a horrible thing, what a poor man who needed those horses to survive and do work. And the wise man says, good luck, bad luck. And he repeats this throughout the progression of the story, maintaining a equanimous position, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. What happens was the horses return, and they bring back some broncos, some wild horses, and now everyone's celebrating. It's prosperous time. He has more horses to do more work. His son gets on the horses, try to tame the horse, the wild horse, the bronco, but falls off and breaks his legs, and now it's a horrible thing all over again. But was it really that horrible when the nation's army comes through to draft all the children for the current conflict, and a son is spared, knowing that many of those old conflicts, most of the men died serving the state, living by the sword, dying by the sword, drafted and forced into an army, and in some cases even today child armies. But his son was spared because of his broken leg. Good luck, bad luck. So again, maybe we're unsuccessful at certain goals and endeavors because there's something better waiting for us. What's most important is to really understand what success is, personal success is. And it relates to achieving one's own destiny and the steps required to overcome victim consciousness and negative thinking in order to believe in our own success. It is not necessarily about specific monetary gains or cookie-cutter goals. What you're seeing from a lot of popular YouTubers out there is only one version of it. There's so much more. And I'm not an expert. I'm just one guy on YouTube with an opinion who is truly exploring the idea of personal success with the tools and technology that I have to work with, within reason. I'm Alex Ansary, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies within.